Shalom. Today is day 34 of the Counting the Omer, one day after Lag BaOmer. Please bear with me while I depart from the usual presentation. In light of the recent tragedy at Meron, due in part to overcrowding, I would like to recount some insightful renderings made by others concerning what can be learned from this tragedy. Any tragedy must be viewed as a unique event meant to bring us to a greater understanding of ourselves, the condition of our soul, and a greater awareness of our connection to God. The insight is not my own, rather it is based on a few responses given by certain authorities within the rabbinical world, as well as a few other reputable sources. The key thought to keep in mind is that nobody is immune from judgments that are brought upon us as a people. Teshuvah, repentance, is first and foremost the primary response, in order to acknowledge that could have been us if things were different. It is meaningful to do teshuvah in respect to this tragedy, because this will place our response in the proper context, knowing that this is a wake-up call to make heshbon hanefesh, an account of the soul, by examining our own conscience. The point was made by another source in the Jewish world that Rabbi Akiva's students almost 2,000 years ago suffered a high mortality rate due to a plague attributed to their inability to respect each other's viewpoints, thus showing a lack of respect towards each other. Showing respect to others is a basic quality that should be considered as part of our own humanity. It is mentioned that the type of overcrowding that leads to neglect of acknowledging the physical boundaries of others has been evident at other events of a similar nature. The worst-case scenario of this kind of neglect has tragically occurred. As a result, to make this tragic event meaningful would include not only doing teshuvah for the sake of our own souls, also to consider our own awareness of the physical space we give to others, respecting their boundaries. If I may add to this, the greater task at hand would be to also respect other people's emotional and psychological boundaries. I will not be writing any of this except to reiterate, as respectfully as possible, points already made by others much more qualified than me to make such statements. However, I will conclude with an attempt to connect the attributes of the day to these lessons. Perhaps one of the foundations of humility is to recognize that we all share a common humanity with each other. When we see ourselves more or less on the same level as everyone else, then we will not try to lift ourselves up above others in any manner whatsoever. Thus, we would not disrespect others in our own attempts to fill mitzvot, commandments, or minhagim, customs. Every mitzvah should be performed with the following commandment in mind: to love our neighbor as ourselves. Please pray for the healing of all those who suffered from this tragedy, not only the wounded, but also the first responders who dealt with the psychological trauma of witnessing the aftermath, also for the consolation of the bereaved families and friends of those who lost their lives in Meron. Thank you very much, and may God bless all of us in our own endeavors to excel at improving ourselves.